Talks are underway to create a unity government in Libya between the internationally recognised leadership and warring factions. Meanwhile, the country grapples with ISIL in the town of Sirte amid nationwide unrest. Libya has turned to the Arab League for help, asking for international intervention. With the latest, we're joined by CCTV's Adel al-Mukri from Cairo. Adel, good to have you with us. First question has to be, how did Libya end up with two governments, and what progress, if any, is being made on unity government talks and the deal there?
Well, Libya got divided way back during the transition when the National Council that should have led Libya to a democratic transition decided to hold the parliament elections, despite that there was a strong boycott from the Islamists led by the Muslim Brotherhood there. And because of the Libyan tribal nature, it was very easy to get polarized. So what happened is that the Islamists boycotted the parliament elections, which the others, or the east side of Libya, has proceeded with. And going on forward, Libya has been getting more and more divided as the international community has been splitting over the situation in Libya, with the international government gaining international recognition. And on the other hand, you have the Islamists separating Libya with their own strong influence in the country and getting into more fights against territories inside the country itself, with having it got more complicated with countries like Egypt and the United Arab Emirates announcing they have airstrikes inside, hitting primarily ISIL, but it is known their rivalry with the Muslim Brotherhood at the same time. That's why it got complicated, and that's why the talks that are going on up until now, we have this Khairat talks should resume on Thursday, and they had primarily agreed to form a national unity government, but still both parties have many points, mainly because of mistrust between them, to move that into solid action.
You mentioned ISIL, Adel, in Libya. Where are they, and how are they increasing territory and support there? It's quite incredible.
Well, it is, of course, because when you look at the Libyan map, ISIL started with Derna, which is in the northeast side of the country. It's a coastal city on the Mediterranean. In 2014, this is where ISIL started appearing as a power, putting the black flag on government buildings inside, on government flags in the entire city after seizing control of Derna. And then you find that ISIL moves along the coast of Libya, moving on to fights that are still ongoing now, more or less in Sirte. And after that, it took another third, just a little bit to the east. So if we're talking about Libya's coastal borders, it has several cities under its control, and all of them are coastal cities. So mainly it gives it a lot of access to the sea. We're talking about some cities like Derna are only 200 miles away from Europe. And therefore there is a massive of trafficking going on through the sea borders that cannot be stopped. And still ISIS is trying to gain more spread in the southern and western borders of Libya, through which it has been gaining more influence in the Sahara area of Africa.
Yeah, you're right, Adel. People are talking about a failed state potentially in Libya. And Libya went to the Arab League, didn't they? And they asked for military intervention and in help in fighting ISIL. Now, the Arab League agreed to a strategy was needed, but stopped short of authorising airstrikes. We still have the UN arms embargo against the country. So what's next for Libya?
Well, Libya is going on into more deterioration unless the battling factions, particularly if we're talking about the Tripoli and the Tobruk government, reach a national unity coalition and government that should lead the country into another form of political transition. Otherwise, this will not happen. The Arab country stay with tight hands with the Security Council, as you said, is insisting on the arms embargo, which many regional countries, including Egypt and Saudi Arabia, believe it's very necessary to lift, so that the Libyan government, in their perspective, that's the Tobruk-based government, should fight terrorism. So it is quite complicated, and it's getting more divided, with ISIL using these delay in communication and these failures in the talks to spread in the country itself. And the spread of ISIL in Libya is affecting not just the Middle East, but it could spread to Europe soon.
Yeah, complicated and spreading. CCTV's Adel al-Mukri in Cairo. Thanks so much for joining us.